Good morning. I hope you are enjoying the snow and staying safe. Um, Today I'm gonna read you the directions for the Hatchet test and also explain some things to you, and then I'm gonna let you go ahead and take the test. Okay. So again, I'm just reviewing how to use this technology if you don't know. So this is very small and I want to make it bigger. So I'm going to go to the magnifying glass and I'm going to click the arrow, the down arrow, and I'm going to click on 100%. And then over here on the right side of the screen, scroll up to the top. Now it's still on the magnifying glass, so I need to click back on this black arrow, to select. All right. Hatchet assessment number 2. Chapters 11 through 19 in Epilogue. Match the words with their definitions by writing the correct letters on the line. So we have the words abrupt, infuriating, chipper, marveling, furor, exasperated. Abrupt. So you're going to match the definition of abrupt. So you're going to put the correct letter of the correct definition on the line. So when you click on the box, you're going to double click. So click twice in order to type in the box. Part 2. Oh, I should read the definitions. Let me read the definitions real quick. So we have maddening and frustrating. B, an outbreak of public anger or excitement. C, sudden. D, irritated intensely. E, feeling wonder and astonishment. F, cheerful and lively. Part 2. Vocabulary fill in the blank. Choose the word that best completes each sentence below. I tried to blank things by writing an apology letter. Okay, so you have the choices gnarled, exalted, rectify, persistent. Number 8. The blank car alarm continued on and annoying everyone in the neighborhood. You have A, instinctive, B, gnarled, C, massive, D, incessant. Write 2 sentences below, each containing one of the following words. Grimacing, massive, exalted, unwittingly, gnarled. So you can choose 2 words from that word bank and write a complete sentence using the word correctly. So I'm going to be grading you on grammar and your ability to use punctuation and also just being able to use the vocabulary word in the correct context. So you have 9 and 10 there. Going to the second slide, just scroll up to the top. Choose the best answer for each question below. What causes Brian to lose all hope and to hurt himself with his hatchet at one point? So you're going to drag and scroll this gray bar at the bottom over until you can type in this yellow box over here your answers. So for number 11, you can type your answer there. You're going to choose the correct letter. You have A, tornado strikes and destroys his shelter. B, Brian loses his hatchet at the bottom of the lake. C, he hears a plane overhead, but it flies away without seeing him. D, Brian is attacked by a giant moose. Okay. Number 12. What lessons does the skunk teach Brian? Circle all that apply. A. Some creatures are friendly. B. There's no purpose in crying and pitying yourself. C. You have to protect your food. D. You have a good shelter. You have to have a good shelter. 13. What effects does the tornado have? Circle all that apply. A. Brian is more determined to survive than ever. B. Brian thinks that the tornado is just as insane as the moose. C. Brian has a broken leg. D. Brian sees the plane tail sticking up out of the water. Sorry, I got 14. Why does Brian want to get to the plane? A. He thinks the plane has a survival pack. B. He wants to try to use the plane's radio again. C. He wants to retrieve the pilot's body to give him a proper burial. D. He wants to salvage plane parts to add to his shelter. 15. Which of the following does not happen in these chapters? A. Brian is attacked by a bear. B. Brian is finally rescued. C. Brian nearly loses his hatchet. D. Brian becomes very good at shooting birds. Which of these does not happen in these chapters? 16. What is one thing that Brian does not find in the survival pack? A. Food. B. A hat. C. A sleeping bag. D. A tent. What does Brian not find in the survival pack? Okay, that's slide 2. Slide 3. Are short answer questions. That means when you read this, you have to restate the question and write a complete sentence. So, name 2 emotions that Brian feels in these chapters. Explain the reasons behind each of these emotions. So, you're going to say what the emotions are. Brian feels blank. Then why does Brian feel that? So, Brian feels this way because, and explain why. And then you have to do 2 emotions. So Brian also feels blank, period. He also feels this way because. Next, you have 18. In chapter 19, Brian is going through the contents of the survival pack when he comes across a rifle. On page 173, the text reads, "The rifle changed him. The minute he picked it up, and he wasn't sure he liked the change very much." Explain why you think Brian experiences this feeling. Why wouldn't he like the change of the way the rifle made him feel? You'd think that he'd pick it up and be like, "Oh, yes, a gun," in this experience. But he doesn't feel that way. Why do you think he just doesn't like the change very much? Um, Make sure you restate the question. Brian does not like the change very much of finding the rifle because, and then you can explain why. 19. What is one lesson that you can learn from this story? And we talked a lot about lessons the other day. So you just have to pick one lesson that you've learned and why. And again, you have to write complete sentences. If these are not complete sentences, you're going to lose out on a lot of points. Number 20. How does this story end? Do you like or dislike the ending? Why or why not? This is a very simple question. Yes, I like the ending because. No, I didn't like the end. I didn't like the ending because. So very simple answer. Just make sure that you have complete sentences. And then when you're finished, you're just going to turn your work in. Take your time. And I hope you have a wonderful day.